Alright troops, brace yourself, because today we've got something a little bit special for you. You see, we've sorted all of the original 151 Pokemon into a tier list. Now, obviously this is going to be our own opinions, but please remember that the only thing less significant than how raging you are at our opinions is how little we care about your opinion. Just because your favourite Pokemon might be ranked low on this list, it doesn't make your opinion invalid, it just means your favourite Pokemon's shit. Coming in at number 1, we've got Bulbasaur. The bastard child of the starter Pokemon packs an undervalued punch. A decent evolution tree and moveset coupled by a good core anime run in the original Kanto series is enough to place Bulbasaur in the A tier. Number 2, Ivysaur. The unwanted middle child of the generation of Leaf Pokemon. Not a terrible Pokemon, Ivysaur has its benefits in the games, but it's a weaker showing in the original series, often being somewhat forgotten about in comparison to the other middle child starters. Still, Ivysaur can sit firmly in the A tier. Number 3, Venusaur. The creme de la creme of the Saur tree, Venusaur may be an ugly beast, but there's something about it that's so endearing. From Solar Beam in the Elite Four to the Shine Worship in the anime, it's more than enough to put Venusaur at the top end of the B tier. Number 4, Charmander. We're not leaving Charmander out in the rain. Charmander has a lot of personality and is well loved in the Pokeverse, but it's often just used as a pillar for success. Charmander is quite fairly ranked in the top end of the B tier. Number 5, Charmeleon. Charmeleon's a spunky teen that isn't short of angst. He has a good showing in the anime, but often, like his former evolution, is merely used to get through to Charizard. We think that Charmeleon would be fairly ranked in the B tier. Number 6, Charizard. A shiny Charizard was the absolute holy grail of playground trading. Thousands were sank trying to get him, thousands failed, and only a mere few succeeded. The Alluring Dragon had perhaps the highest pick rate of the starting three, and is very well loved in the Pokemon universe. We think Charizard deserves to be in the A tier. Number 7, Squirtle. A well-loved Pokemon in the anime, games, and everything else, Squirtle is an everlasting staple of the franchise and isn't going anywhere. With perhaps the most accurate name in the franchise, Squirrel Turtle floats right into the S tier. Number 8, Wartortle. Wartortle suffers the same fate as Ivysaur in terms of sibling rivalry, although he's not totally a lost cause. Wartortle has a lot of personality in the anime, even manning a fire station. In the games and elsewhere, he's just a stopgap until Blastoise, unfortunately, and not much else. And as a result, we think Wartortle deserves to be at the top end of the B tier. Number 9, Blastoise. If Squirtle and Wartortle are the children of the water starters, Blastoise is the daddy. Adeptly named, Blastoise packs a punch while offering great utility to your team. An all-round great with fantastic showings in games and anime, Blastoise blasts right into the A tier. Number 10, Caterpie. A couple of emotional scenes in the anime for our boy Caterpie. It shows a lot and gives a lot, but unfortunately doesn't do a lot. C tier. Number 11, Metapod. Metapod is perhaps home to the greatest anime battle in television history. The harder off is both ridiculous and outright fun and stupid. That alone might have moved it up a couple of rankings if it wasn't so useless in the actual games. C tier. Number 12, Butterfree. Butterfree was once traded for the worst Pokemon in Gen 1, only to be promptly traded back once Ash recovered from his smooth brain. We're trying not to hold it against him. Butterfree holds some incredible emotional beats in the series, but really packs quite a meagre punch in the games. Putting it in the B tier seems fair, all things considered. Number 13, Weedle. I don't think we really need to go into too much detail here. D tier. Number 14, Ugly Metapod finds himself in the C tier. Number 15, Beedrill. The common bee is a beloved creature in our universe, but not in Pokemon. C tier. Number 16, Pidgey. A bird. D tier. Number 17, Pidgeotto. Ash's second ever Pokemon, Pidgeotto was one of Ash's main party until it eventually evolved and was left to guard weaker Pidgeys and Pidgeottos. He did have a soft spot in a lot of viewers' hearts, but we're not a lot of viewers. Viewing him for what he is, a souped up Pidgey, Pidgeotto glides right into the C tier. Number 18, Pidgeot. Easily the most elegant of this generation of birds, sporting a slick hairdo and a utility moveset, Pidgeot provides fantastic value to its trainers, although not a huge amount more. Pidgeot finds himself in the B tier. Number 19, Rattata. Criticised as a filthy rodent by Games Radar and rubbish by official Nintendo magazine, we'll go as far as saying dog shit. And that might actually be putting it nicely. F tier. Number 20, Raticate. Honestly, Raticate isn't much better than Rattata. F tier. Number 21, Spearow, a bird. Although admittedly, a bird that tried to literally murder Ash and Pikachu in the first episode. C tier. Number 22, Fearow, a bird. D tier. Number 23, Ekans. Ekans is the product of someone at Game Freak coming out with, how about one that's just a snake but will spell its name backwards and blow all the kids' minds. Granted, it worked, but that doesn't save a certain games journalist's favourite Pokemon from the C tier. Number 24, Arbok. Following on in a similar way to Ekans, Arbok may just be a snake, but he's a really big snake. The kind of snake no human being would be safe around, easily capable of devouring an adult male whole. Arbok slithers right into B tier. Number 25, Pikachu. It's Pikachu. Honestly, I could just stop there, as it goes without saying that Pikachu is utterly iconic, literally the face of the franchise. There's no Pokemon more recognisable than the ubiquitous yellow mouse thing. At the same time, they've really milked him to death and back at this point, but nonetheless, the classics are classics for a reason. B tier. Number 26, Raichu. Many would discard Raichu as just being a forgettable second stage, but think about it. When you're coming after Pikachu, you're always going to struggle. It's like following up for Freddie Mercury's Ghost at Glastonbury. You could be the best ever and all people are going to be talking about is how a music festival managed to raise the dead. What I'm saying is, Raichu deserves to stand alongside his little brother in B tier. Number 27, Sandshrew. I only just noticed while writing this that both Pikachu and Sandshrew are based on rodents, both have 2 stages and one counters the other, and they're both right next to each other in the Pokédex, which is kinda neat. B tier. Number 28, Sandslash. The bigger brother of the gritty rodent family, Sandslash comes in looking slick as can be. He's got a cool sort of assassin stance thing going on. He's ready to rumble, and he won't fumble. B tier. Number 29, Nidoran female. Show of hands, who used Nidoran the first time they played Pokemon? Those of you with your hands up. Yep, all 3 of you. You're lying. Put your hands down. C tier. Barely. Number 30, Nidorina. Somehow looking more gawky than its predecessor, there's really not much going for Nidorina. A second stage evolution, weak visual design and poison type prior to Gen 5 just ruthlessly forced Nidorina right into D tier. Number 31, Nidoqueen. But then, out of nowhere, comes Nidoqueen, looking strong and sassy. If Pokemon could talk, she'd warm your heart every time she called you sugar. At the same time, it's hard to believe those comforting eyes could bring themselves to harm another creature, but she can learn both strength and surf. And who doesn't respect utility? B tier. Number 32, Nidoran male. Literally the same as Nidoran female, except a bit edgier. It's cool that the devs were experimenting with the whole Pokemon having genders thing prior to Gen 2, but they could have done better than this. C tier. Number 33, Nidorino. Again, almost exactly the same deal as Nidorina, except a little pointier. Literally. D tier. Number 34, Nidoking. And then, once again, they pull a sneaky on you and drop this bad boy right on you out of nowhere. Nidoking looks armed and dangerous, ready to tear a man's spine out and not even think twice about it. He seems like an absolute badass. And then you find out he's like 5 foot tall or something canonically. He's still cool though. A tier. Number 35, Clefairy. Clefairy's one of those ones that makes you just sort of go, yeah. Plus its lore is a bit strange too. They're like moon worshippers or something? They come for the moon? I don't know. C tier, just. Number 36, Clefable. No thanks, not for me. Just a big chubby lump of nothing. D tier. Number 37, Vulpix. The mild-mannered fox exclusive to Pokemon Blue back in the day. Vulpix is a little cutie, a bit forgettable when you compare her to her more illustrious second stage, but she does the job while she's there. B tier. Number 38, Ninetales. A fox with 9 tails. Based on Japanese mythology, Ninetales is nothing if not majestic, flowing across the battlefield with effortless grace. Ninetales is one of the first Pokemon that I properly EV trained and made battle ready. I called her Vianetta, and I'm pretty sure I've still got her kicking around in a DS cartridge somewhere. A tier. Number 39, Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff manages to break free from the fate typically reserved for Pokemon that fit the description of shape with face by having more character written into them in the show than almost every other named character. She wants to sing, yet her song makes people sleep, meaning people can't hear her singing. She lashes out, her hand forced by fate, drawing on the faces of those she perceives to have wronged her. It's a Shakespearean tragedy. It's Pokemon's answer to Grave of the Fireflies. She has no mouth, and she must sing. A tier. Number 40, Wigglytuff, and oh how the mighty have fallen. See Clefable for further details. D tier. Number 41, Zubat. You have to give Zubat credit. Few other Pokemon have retained such notoriety for 7 separate generations of games. Trainers have been slogging through an endless sea of Zubat every time the sun isn't shining on their heads directly for decades now. We've begged, pleaded, cried, and yet Game Freak does not answer. D tier. Number 42, Golbat. If you bother to catch a Zubat, I don't know, it was spite or something, and then you level it up, Golbat can come as something of a surprise. He's a lot bulkier, especially if you stick an Eviolite on him in later games, and he has a truly enormous mouth to head ratio. He's the Gary Busey of the Pokemon world. C tier, because we can't forgive him for being a Zubat once. Number 43, Oddish. Little mushroom thing. He's got a cute little face. Nothing special besides that, but not everything needs to blow you away. C tier. Number 44, Gloom. Sadly, little Oddish turned to the gear in his teenage years. Gloom looks like he needs help, and with a face like that, we don't think anyone's going to give it to him. Wipe your mouth, man. C tier. Number 45, Vileplume. Vile by name, pretty friendly looking by nature, although considering she seems to be based off a giant Rafflesia flower, maybe her plume is quite vile. Nomenclature aside, Vileplume is a cheery chappy and she'll bring various status effects to any team with gusto. B tier. Number 46, Paris. The Last of Us before The Last of Us. D tier. Number 47, Parasect. A marginal improvement over its prior stage, Parasect wins points through sheer girth. He's a big old mushroom, one of the biggest we've ever seen. C tier. Number 48, Venonat. I mean, yeah, alright, it's a little bug thing, it looks fuzzy and warm, but at the same time, it's just a wee bit gross. It's the eyes that do it. No thanks. D tier. Number 49, Venomoth. Yeah, again, he's just gross looking. Imagine having 12 of those bad boys flapping about at the light outside your house. You need to start bringing a flamethrower to work. D tier. Number 50, Diglett. Hey, there he is. Everybody loves Diglett, us included. Our favourite Diglett moment is in the anime, where a guy talking to Ash implies, or outright states, that they're all one Diglett, and it's just so fast that it looks like it's in different places at once. Legend. A tier. Number 51, Dugtrio. 3 times the Diglett, about 0.92 times the score in our aggregate ranking system. Dugtrio loses some of Diglett's naive charm, but only a little bit. Dugtrio fits right into the top end of the B tier. Number 52, Meowth, the only Pokemon that could talk prior to the first movie. Although if you think about it, lots of Pokemon notoriously say their own names in English, so maybe they can all talk and they just haven't learned proper sentence structure. C tier. Number 53, Persian. Literally like a mountain lion or something with a gem on its head. C tier. Number 54, Psyduck. He's doing the best with what he's got, but really, if we're being honest, he doesn't have much. Iconic voice though. C tier. Number 55, Golduck. Something of an underrated Pokemon. Golduck never really had much of a showing in the anime or the games. His stats have been subpar for something like 40 games now, so it's no wonder players skip him in favour of any of the other 40,000 water Pokemon Game Freak had every generation. C tier. Number 56, Mankey. Another shape with a face, except they didn't even bother to include a mouth. C tier, barely. Number 57, Primeape. A shape with a face that's fueled by pure rage. Mankey eats broken glass for breakfast and passes it as Weetabix. He's a loose unit, a maverick, a dangerous individual. Wouldn't want one of those in the house, but at least he comes packed with a gimmick. B tier. Number 58, Growlithe. A cute little doggy. B tier. Number 59, Arcanine. The handsomest lad in the first generation, Arcanine is a massive fan favourite. With a solid in-game stat pool and moveset, and a prime spot in the original anime intro, Arcanine is a staple of Gen 1 Pokemon. He's iconic and thoroughly earns his spot in the A tier. Number 60, Poliwag. The best is certainly yet to come in this evolutionary chain, as Poliwag is more or less just a circle with a face and legs. It's cute enough to stay out the bottom tiers, but just barely. C tier. Number 61, Poliwhirl. A significant upgrade from its first stage, Poliwhirl brings arms, fists and a whole lot of determination to the table. He's ready for business and he doesn't care who knows it. Still a bit featureless, but far from the worst. B tier. Number 62, Poliwrath. Poliwrath doesn't care that he's just a basic shape with limbs. In fact, he'll punch your teeth down your throat for even bringing it up. He's rough and ready, but sadly not even the strongest of individuals can fight their way past middle of the road visual design. B tier. Number 63, Abra. Abra is a strange little guy, notoriously difficult to catch with an extremely overpowered evolutionary line, at least in Gen 1. Abra looks like a creepy bald child, but he's got enough personality and attitude to keep him out of the lower end of the list. B tier. Number 64, Kadabra. Tragically, this is what becomes of Abra once he breaks free of the lower levels. Emaciated fragile form, pallid skin tone, creepy moustache, Kadabra doesn't really have much going for him visually, and a distinct lack of character relegates Kadabra to D tier. Number 65, Alakazam. Age has done good things to Kadabra, as Alakazam definitely brings more to the table with his more distinguished features. He's still quite creepy looking, but he's a smooth enough operator to keep things above board. Also one of the rare times that the anime was in line with the games, because Alakazam was broken overpowered in both, slapping both Ash and the viewer about in equal measure across platforms. C tier. Number 66, Machop. He looks like a sock full of sand, but he doesn't care. Machop is just happy to be there, and that's something I'm sure we can all respect. Ultimately though, Machop is just a little bit forgettable in both the show and the games, totally eclipsed by his later evolutions. C tier. Number 67, Machoke. Machoke is an absolute workhorse, you see him doing everything and he's not afraid of a bit of hard graft. Machoke is probably the only Pokemon with a pension plan, and planning for the future is something everyone can respect. B tier. Number 68, Machamp. Machamp is the absolute peak of physicality, a true Adonis, the Atlas of the Pokemon world. Epic tales have been written about Machamp's rippling physique. He'll grab you in all the right places and lifts himself clean up to A tier. Number 69, Bellsprout. Despite being one of the only original Pokemon that an infant child could effortlessly kill, Bellsprout has an inexplicable charm. It could be something to do with the fact that he's just so gormless looking, or maybe he hypnotised us all with his surreal dancing in the first movie. Either way, Bellsprout weeds his way into B tier. Number 70, Weepinbell. Weepinbell is shocked and appalled all the time. He's constantly surprised. Alternatively, he's constantly ready at a moment's notice to give the good suck, but the less said about that the better. You might be shocked, however, to see Weepinbell in the B tier. Number 71, Victreebel. There's one thing going for Victreebel. He's the only Pokemon that flies out of the ball with a full-on battle cry. He skipped saying his own name in favour of just chilling the hearts of his enemies with a blood-curdling scream. Unfortunately, it all sort of falls apart from there as he loses a lot of Weepinbell's hopeless charm in favour of being a big creepy gullet monster. C tier. Number 72, Tentacool. Tentacool has a lot going against him, constantly plaguing any ocean voyages for any players of the games. This, coupled with the fact that he's literally just a jellyfish, forces Tentacool right into the middle of the road where he belongs. C tier. Number 73, Tentacruel. Tentacruel is a big boy, occasionally one of the biggest, bringing down entire buildings in one of the show's most controversial episodes. Him being a big boy is more or less the sole reason that he's up higher than his previous evolutionary form. There's a distinct difference between just a jellyfish and just a really big jellyfish. B tier. Number 74, Geodude. 50% Geode, 100% Dude. That's all you need to know. B tier. Number 75, Graveler. Everyone likes a bit of rough and tumble, and rough tumbling is what Graveler does best. He literally looks rough and tumbles with great finesse, with a sly grin on his face the whole time. B tier. Number 76, Golem. The biggest of balls, Golem will roll right up and steal your girl from under you. A big spherical dinosaur thing, Golem suffers a bit from bizarre visual design, and the fact that you need to trade to evolve him, only narrowly edging him out of the top tiers. B tier, but just barely. Number 77, Ponyta. Firehorse. C tier. Number 78, Rapidash. Big Firehorse. C tier. Number 79, Slowpoke. What needs to be said about Slowpoke? Slowpoke just doesn't have it in him to care, and who can't relate with his eternally blasé nature? Few Pokemon can hope to have such universal allure. A tier. Number 80, Slowbro. What Slowbro gains from the shell on his tail, he unfortunately loses in terms of universal allure. Slowpoke lost a lot when he gained bulk and confidence, and this unfortunately brings him down in the rankings. B tier. Number 81, Magnemite. People say that Gen 1 has the best Pokemon design. D tier. Number 82, Magneton. Triple the draw does not necessarily mean triple the appeal, as 3 Magnemites stuck together does not a great Pokemon make. C tier. 83, Farfetch'd. A bird with a stick. The stick adds a lot though, as without it Farfetch'd would not be anywhere near as sassy. Farfetch'd sashays his way right into the top end of C tier. Number 84, Doduo. A bird with 2 heads. B tier, but just barely. Number 85, Dodrio. A tougher, meaner look does absolutely no favours for Dodrio. They do admittedly look genuinely quite dangerous, but at the same time, dangerous is synonymous with unapproachable. C tier. Number 86, Seal. Bless him, he tries. C tier. Number 87, Dugong. In an absolute world-class glow-up, Dugong comes out looking nothing if not majestic. Even though she's still essentially just a seal, it's hard not to have a soft spot for the big long gong. B tier. Number 88, Grimer. Grimer could easily have been relegated to F tier, but somehow Ken Sugimori managed to put more personality into a puddle of toxic slime than most people have in real life. Unfortunately, this isn't saying much in the grand scheme of things. C tier. Number 89, Muck. First there was Ekans, then there was Arbok, and in keeping with the trend, Muck comes blasting onto the scene with true bombastic flair. He's a puddle of love and just wants to spread himself around. At the end of the day, he's just a blob, but he's definitely got a place in our hearts. B tier. Number 90, Shelder. A shell with the voice of an angel. B tier. Number 91, Cloyster. I mean, he just looks like a fanny. B tier? Number 92, Ghastly. Ghastly by name, ghastly by nature. Ghastly is the premier ghost in the Gen 1 block. The only thing less ghastly than Ghastly is his placement in the rankings, as Ghastly comes right at the top of C tier. Number 93, Haunter. The middle child of the first generation ghosts, Haunter's a cheeky chappy, and in the show he's more of a harmless troublemaker than a heart-stopping terror. He'll haunt you, and he'll have fun doing it. B tier. Number 94, Gengar. Who would win? Literally any other Pokemon or one ghosty boy? In Gen 1 at least, it's the latter, which is a trend that continued into later generations. Gengar is the original hideously overpowered ghost Pokemon, both in stats and in raw charm. He fronts as a troublemaking hardman, but down beneath it all, he's got a heart of gold. You can't beat a cheeky Gengar. S tier. Number 95, Onix. Onix is an absolute G, one of Brock's original boys. Onix has seen the Pokemon team through thick and thin. Yeah, he's scared of water, but at the end of the day, who doesn't love a colossal stone snake? A tier. Number 96, Drowsy. His uncomfortable lack of visual appeal, coupled by his questionable Pokédex entries, sees him just barely scraping into C tier. Number 97, Hypno. I mean, seriously, they canonically hypnotise and kidnap children. D tier. Number 98, Krabby. You can't hate Krabby. The underdog of Ash's original squad, he may just be a crab, but he makes up for it in spirit. B tier. Number 99, Kingler. With great claw comes great responsibility, and Kingler lives up to the responsibility with aplomb. He's a fun-loving criminal, and that coupled with an excellent Pokemon League run puts Kingler right in the top end of B tier. Number 100, Voltorb. Like, we get it, he's a Pokeball, but also a Pokemon. C tier, barely. Number 101, Electrode. C above, but slightly more explosive. C tier. Number 102, Execute. The one with half of its head missing makes us viscerally uncomfortable. D tier. Number 103, Exeggutor. In another relatively spectacular glow-up, Exeggutor swaps out open head wounds for goofy vibes, although he still looks a bit like he has brain damage. B tier. Number 104, Cubone. With probably the roughest backstory in the series, it's hard not to respect the balls of Game Freak for putting in what's essentially a child wearing the skull of its own dead mother. You can't not respect the tragically morbid poetry on display here. B tier. Number 105, Marowak. Trading out the emo vibes for angsty vengeance does very few favours for Cubone's bigger brother. Or maybe mother? The genealogy of the pair's never been clear. Marowak falls a little flatter than Cubone in our opinion, but that's not to say she doesn't have a fair degree of personal appeal. B tier. Number 106, Hitmonlee. I mean, we get that he's a Pokemon where the design brief was literally just the word kick, but surely they could have done better than this. C tier. Number 107, Hitmonchan. In a similar vein to Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan just doesn't look very nice. He's about as threatening as a toddler in a Batman costume, and he hits about as hard in the games as well. C tier, barely. Number 108, Lickitung. The man, the myth, the tongue. Lickitung is the embodiment of bombastic flair. He's a master of psychological warfare, using his own tongue to paralyse his opponents in uncomfortable turmoil. Think about it, what would you do in a fight if your opponent just full on licked you? Absolute masterstroke. A tier. Number 109, Coughing. Another Pokemon that's just happy to be there. Coughing comes out of the Pokeball in a big cloud of highly toxic cheer. His admittedly basic and nebulous design does drop him down a fair few rankings, but he doesn't mind. B tier. Number 110, Wheezing. Coughing may be ready to party, but Wheezing is dealing with the aftermath. Coming barreling in with his parasitic twin on hand, Wheezing billows out clouds of toxic death with reckless abandon. A solemn representation of the effects of a life led without a care for the future. We can only pray that it's not too late for our boy in purple. B tier. Number 111, Rhyhorn. A stubby stone rhino, and that's pretty much it. C tier. Number 112, Rhydon. A stubby stone rhino, except he's standing up. Rhydon is saved by the fact that he looks ready to rumble anytime, anywhere. B tier. Number 113, Chansey. Has anyone ever really thought about how bizarre it is that Chansey effectively eats her own children for nourishment? Or the fact that that then implies that Chansey herself would have healing properties when consumed? I don't think I could manage a whole one though. B tier. Number 114, Tangela. There's definitely a lot of Rule 34 of this little guy. C tier. Number 115, Kangaskhan. A single mother who's doing what's right for her child. An absolute Amazon queen. She's big and bold and don't need no man. Kangaskhan has it made in terms of design, backstory and game presence, being one of the rarest Pokemon to have in the first gen. A tier. Number 116, Horsey. A seahorse. C tier. Number 117, Seadra. A cool seahorse. B tier. Number 118, Goldeen. A fish. D tier. Number 119, Seaking. A fish with a horn. C tier. Number 120, Staryu. Easily Misty's coolest Pokemon. Staryu comes spinning out of the ball like an absolute badass. He's like a karate starfish, unless it is Battlecry. Absolute hero. B tier. Number 121, Starmie. In this case, more means less, and Starmie has more spikes and layers at the cost of far less personality. There's something about Starmie that makes him somehow more featureless than his somewhat more simplistic earlier form. C tier. Number 122, Mr. Mime. Just awful. F tier. Number 123, Scyther. Probably the Pokemon that would pose the biggest threat to humanity in real life. Scyther looks utterly vicious, and twice the sides mean twice the circumcision power. B tier. Number 124, Jinx. Disqualified. F tier. Number 125, Electabuzz. Electabuzz suffers from essentially being a big creepy yellow man, and despite his hilarious original cry in the anime, Electabuzz doesn't half leave us with the impression that he shouldn't be allowed within several hundred feet of most nurseries. C tier. Number 126, Magmar. Suffering from all the same afflictions as Electabuzz, Magmar just does not resonate with us at all. The only difference being that the look in his face, it's like he enjoys your discomfort. C tier. Number 127, Pinsir. Pinsir is what you get if you combine invasive surgery with Starship Troopers. Looking like an insectoid medieval torture device, Pinsir could probably win most fights just by standing there menacingly. A true Israeli style show of force of a Pokemon, Pinsir only loses points for being too creepy to leave in the house overnight. B tier. 128, Taurus. He may just be a bull, but he's a rare bull. C tier. Number 129, Magikarp. The beginning of childhood's greatest rags to riches story, the human condition personified in Pokemon. Magikarp always makes a splash. Literally. He's trying his absolute best, and his best isn't good enough. But we all know the truth. B tier. Number 130, Gyarados. Move over, Charizard. Gyarados is the coolest dragon that isn't actually a dragon. Bizarrely pronounced as Gyarados despite his name having a Y before the A, Gyarados was probably the coolest thing you'd ever seen in your life at 6 years old. Imagine finding out that this is what Magikarp turned into by yourself without prior knowledge. I mean, you wouldn't have, as you beat the Elite Four with a level 80 Blastoise like the rest of us, but still, it is a bit odd that he doesn't seem to be able to close his mouth though. A tier. Number 131, Lapras. Lapras scores highly because she's just so helpful. Big enough to support a small community on her back, Lapras provides free overseas travel to the needy. An absolute heart of gold, she's like a giant sea mum. And also she's kind of like a turtle whale. And that's just perfect. A tier. Number 132, Ditto. What needs to be said about Ditto? Look at his little face, but hidden behind his nonchalant exterior is the heart of a true modern day Casanova. Ditto will shag anything. Literally. Leave him alone for 10 minutes with any living creature and he'll not only have fertilised them, they'll already have laid the egg. A tier. Number 133. Eevee. It's hard to dislike Eevee, it's just a cute little fox thing. There's a reason Eevee became the counterpart of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. Raw marketability, and we respect the hustle in this current economic climate. B tier. Number 134. Vaporeon. Having the dubious honour of arguably being the evolution that looks like it would feel the least pleasant to touch. Vaporeon gains points by having pretty solid in-game stats and a move pool that isn't entirely disastrous. Looks slimy, probably smells, but delivers where it counts. C tier. Number 135. Jolteon. Also having the dubious honour of arguably being the evolution that looks like it would feel the least pleasant to touch, Jolteon is also hampered by those dead insect eyes he has. Imagine if you woke up one day and your dog's eyes were just totally black. You'd burn him as a witch. We all would. C tier. Number 136. Flareon. Having the not so dubious honour of being the evolution that's obviously the most pleasant to touch, Flareon just sits there looking regal. Almost literally, as his in-game moveset is notoriously terrible, coupled with his lacklustre stats. We'd love one as a pet though, because judging by its in-game performance, there's little chance of it burning the house down. B tier. Number 137. Porygon. Literally inducing seizures in children when he first came onto the scenes in the show, Porygon is fighting an uphill battle that it just doesn't stand much chance of winning. Porygon sits firmly in the lower end of C tier. Number 138. Omanyte. Omanyte is sort of the underappreciated cousin of his other fossil counterpart. We do like his little wiggly fingers and his cute little eyes. He looks like he'd be a loyal friend, but that doesn't do much for us as a creature of war. C tier. Number 139. Omastar. All the same problems as Omanyte, except he doesn't look friendly. We reckon the show really oversells the efficacy of a biologically propelled jet of water. C tier. Number 140. Kabuto. There's a subtle charm about Kabuto. Like with the previous two entries, that doesn't really make him go far in terms of battlefield capabilities. C tier. Number 141. Kabutops. In an absolute whirlwind twist, Kabutops is almost the polar opposite of the previous three fossil Pokemon. He's a battle-ready monster, to a fault. Kabutops is such an edgelord. He looks like a scyther except he's fashioned his own armour from bones. Yeah, he'd probably wreck face in a fight, but would you really want one of these things living with you? C tier. Number 142. Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's cool. He looks really vicious, but at the same time he can instantly teleport you from place to place. He's the problem of edgy design elevated literally through sheer practical utility. His piss poor typing does drop him down a couple of pegs, but only just barely. B tier. Number 143. Snorlax. Yes, this is it. This is what peak Pokemon looks like. The culmination of evolutionary design. This is what you get when you Google perfection. Snorlax is the king, the daddy, the patriarch of Pokemon society. There is nothing that can faze this man. He cannot be stopped, he cannot be started. 10s across the board. S tier. Number 144. Articuno. Without a doubt the most handsome of the legendary birds, Articuno is nevertheless held back by that which hampers most bird Pokemon, that being the fact that they are naught but birds. Yeah, this one's all icy, but so are penguins. And where's the Gen 1 penguin Pokemon? Exactly. B tier. Number 145. Zapdos. Jesus, I know I said that the problem with bird Pokemon is that they all look like birds, but good god, not like this. Zapdos just looks dreadful. It's like some sort of scrawny, flying, dead plant of some kind. No thanks. C tier. Number 146. Moltres. A bird that's on fire. I mean, alright, fair enough. Anything to be better than Zapdos. C tier. Number 147. Dratini. Oh, look at him. He's adorable. He's like a wee happy sausage. A tier. Number 148. Dragonair. Coming from out of nowhere, Dragonair sashes in like a goddamn debutante. Arguably the most dignified of all the original Pokemon. There's no Pokemon that carries the same level of gravitas as Dragonair. Turning heads wherever she goes, Dragonair sidles right into A tier. Number 149. Dragonite. Alright, this is fine. Surprising absolutely everybody, Dragonite is what becomes of Dragonair after she retires from high society and presumably takes up professional pie eating. It's fine though, because Dragonite brings an infinite amount of cheerful energy to their job at the post office. God bless the civil servants. S tier. Number 150. Mewtwo. Everyone's original favourite, Mewtwo, is kind of fallen from grace in retrospect. Yeah, he may be the most powerful of all Pokemon in Gen 1, but where's the challenge in that? Where's the sense of satisfaction? Still though, remember the Titans. B tier, if only for his illustrious track record. Number 151, Mew. Yeah, Mew's cool. A tier. And if you're still with us, that's the end of our list. If you're not happy with where your Pokemon placed, then please remember that we don't care. But in all seriousness, it's just a bit of fun. Please don't take this too seriously and don't say anything racist in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please remember to click the like button, subscribe, or the bell icon even if you're feeling particularly fancy. And you can even follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Links for those are down in the description below. Thank you for watching. I've been Kieran with Council of Zoom. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.